two limb connections. This is the heart of the document. This is the most challenging part, but don't freak out. Don't freak out because you're going to get it. You might have to go real slow, but that's okay. Now, what are we looking at here? There are 4 quadrants. One of them, you'll notice, has this bold outline. What's going on here? This page lines up with your 4 limbs. So on the bottom left, we have our hi-hat leg. On the top left, you've got your left hand, your left arm. Top right is right arm. Bottom right, right leg. So whichever box has the bold outline, that is the pattern, that is your anchor pattern. In the course, we talk about the AA method to coordination building. This is that method in action. The anchor pattern never changes. And this is how coordination is developed. You have an anchor, and then you have the agitation, the agitator that challenges these patterns. So you're trying to overlap these, and now this is your anchor pattern, whichever one that has the box over it. One thing I forgot to mention here is that the anchor pattern is the one that gets automated. Every drummer wants to play drums without thinking, and this is how you actually do that. You use the anchor agitator system. The anchor pattern will sit underneath all these other limbs. So we're basically gonna layer it on the bottom. The box with the bold outline is the one that is anchored. That will sit underneath all these other limbs, and we're gonna go round robin and put that into the background. You wanna play patterns over top of it. And the anchor pattern is what gets automated. So after a while, you do it without thinking. And this is the road to accomplishing that. Now, we've got the hi-hat leg as the anchor. And in this case, we're gonna zip through all the other different limbs. And starting with the top left, that means our left hand is the agitator. That's the one where the pattern will change. We've got 5. So you've got 5 patterns that will overlay this quarter note hi-hat pattern. So I want to start here with the hi-hat leg. This is what we did on the first page. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 with the hi-hat. And then we venture into pattern number 1, combining this. This is really the beginning of the adventure here. So we've got the snare drum up top. We're going to use our left hand on this and count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are in unison. It's a nice way to start because you already know the pattern, and your left hand and your left leg are firing at the same time. Once you have that down, we're going to move to the next pattern, number 2, where we start to remove and agitate this thing. This is where it might get tricky for a lot of people. Don't worry about it. This is the point where it begins. You don't quit here. You could get frustrated. That's fine. Get up and leave, close the computer. That's fine. But this will be here for you, and you will get it eventually. Now you've got the 4 on the floor with the hi-hat, and we've got snare on 2 and 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that snare is just playing on the 2 and 4. Again, you don't have to put the metronome on at first. Just count it out. Go as slow as you need to. That's the beauty with drums. You can stop time and just step through it once. What's going on here? This is rest on the snare and hi-hat note, quarter notes. All right, you can get this. The third pattern we introduce an eighth note on the snare. So we've got 1, 2, and 3, 4. That's pattern number 3. 4 is 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4. 1, 2, and 3, 4 with the hi-hat quarter notes. The quarter note hi-hats never change. Now the last one, pattern number 5. We got a little special thing going on. Don't freak out. Those are accents. So we're going to play all eighth notes on the snare drum, and we are going to accent the quarter notes here. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's important to practice the accents over the hi-hat. That's why it's number 5. This is the most challenging one in this set, and that's okay. Don't get discouraged. Practice it without the hi-hat at first just to make sure you have it. Get this top line down, and then eventually ease back in, step through each note as slow as you need to, and you'll get it. But this is an important function to be able to do that, accents and non-accents. So that's the left hand. Then we're going to move over to the right hand. The right hand will be played on RC, which is the ride cymbal. You could also do it on the floor tom, but I recommend doing it on the ride cymbal. It starts the same way with quarter notes in unison with the hi-hat, and it goes to eighth notes after that. Now, in this quadrant, what we're playing here are common patterns with each one of these limbs. So this stuff is, these patterns are specialized for the right hand, because this whole roadmap is to get you playing backbeats to popular songs, and each hand has a role to do. We don't need to be so comprehensive and learn every little note mirrored all over every drum. It's just not necessary. I think it's more important that you get to the point where you're playing backbeats that are fun sooner than later. And this is the shortest path to doing that. So the ride cymbal, we're going to do common patterns heard on a ride cymbal and map it over quarter note hi-hat chucks or chicks. So it starts with quarter notes on the ride cymbal. We go to eighth notes in pattern number 2. And then the third pattern, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Well, that's kind of the basis of a swing, but we're not going to get into swing yet. Fourth is the fourth pattern is playing the offbeats. So it's 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. That's a fun one. And then pattern number 5, it's accents again, similar to the left-hand patterns. So as you see, there's a fair amount of work with this thing, but all of it can be checked off. You just step through these things, take as long as you need, but these are the patterns. If you want to play to all the songs on the radio, these connections will need to be made. So it might as well just lay them out, step through them, take them as slow as you need, and get it done. Get her done. Lastly, for two limb connections, with the left leg as the anchor, we're gonna combine that with the right leg. So as you see, we've got kick drum and hi-hat here. The first pattern, we're keeping it simple, playing them in unison. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 at the same time. And then we play the 1 and 3, which is a common pattern for the kick drum. But the left leg is keeping those quarter notes all the way through. The anchor pattern never changes no matter what you're doing with any one of your other limbs. That's the nature of the methodology that I preach, the anchor agitator method. That method is in all these old drum books, the classic ones that have been around 100 years. Progressive steps to syncopation. That's what they're using. It didn't have a name, so I call it the anchor agitator method, but that's what it is. That's how you train drums. So it's pretty cool. It's all in here, and these are the top 5 patterns you need for each one of these limbs. And you will get it. So these kick drum patterns are pretty cool. 1 and 3. Then we've got 1, rest, 3 and 4. Do, do, do. That's a great one. So this is going to shift around now, where the left hand is going to be the anchor. Now this left hand pattern, these 5 patterns never change. You can see them. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. These are the anchor patterns that never change. And what's cool is these snare drum patterns are commonly heard in hit songs and popular music. You know, you will be able to recognize it once you get to that last page and we start pulling up the song examples with this. They're all in there and they're fun. So a lot of work here. You're gonna get it, but stick through it. All right, so I'm not gonna go through the rest of these 2 limb connections. There is nothing we haven't really discussed here as far as notation or notes or how this system actually works. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the 3 limb connections, which is the last page.